I wish I would have started producing earlier as a singer and a songwriter. Let me tell you, as an artist, why you should consider it. If you are singer, songwriter, or you are instrumentalist, you love instruments, you love to play, then maybe you should go and start producing. If you're a long-time producer, then let me tell you why you should continue, because there's so many benefits and maybe you just need to hear them today. Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm a deep dark indie artist. I'm making my first album now about emotion wounds that became my strength. My aim is to help artists or creatives to find their way to create their art and push it out in the world, because I think we need it. We need to talk about deep stuff. We need to talk about something that matters, and you're unique, and I really hope you find your way. You can do it. If you are feeling like you don't know who to share your music, you don't know how to continue, do the next steps, you're lacking inspiration, you're free to join a free Discord group, Vicky's Art Collective. I can help you with whatever you wish for, and I hope to create a community where we can talk freely about such things. I wanted to cover this topic because it's been in my mind, and maybe it's not really popular to ask or think of yourself, but for me, I wished someone would have told me and encouraged me, like, hey, maybe you should look into producing yourself. I guess I knew it was an option I was trying, but the first steps and how do I even embark on this journey was scary, and I didn't know how do I even do it. Before we start, I want to tell you a little backstory. For years since I found myself a purpose that I wanted to help people with mental health, because I was also struggling. I wanted to tell my story through music, and I've done it over those years because I always expressed my sadness and my feelings, and found out even I was feeling certain things through my music. At this time I was journaling a lot, and I was asking a lot of deep questions of myself, and that's how I found my deepest why. And I was like, okay, I might be not unique, but I know that I love making music and I want to share it with people. I decided to make my album because I had so many songs, and I was like, oh, I think I'm able to do it. But the production side became much harder. I tried years. It was since 2019 I tried years to make music with different people, and I feel like they couldn't really understand me. I even paid for someone to help me to make my music, which took us so long, and I realized that maybe it's not the person I can do it. One thing I realized is that music is really personal to me, and most people do music as this is for the pop song. I want to make the next great pop song. I want to make the next greatest hit. But that wasn't my intention, and I feel like that's why like a lot of people like, oh, why you even do it? Like why do you even bother? And to me it's like, question is like, why do you do music then? It's for selfish reasons. Why I do music is maybe also selfish, but in a way selfish, that I do it to heal us, to make us feel something meaningful, and that's always been me. And I guess it's really hard to find that in music. So if you're a little bit like me who want to make something meaningful or anything, then perhaps the better way to do things is to take the power in your hands. Because my music was so different in my head, because I had a feeling, and I didn't know much also because I was younger, so it makes sense. I was like, oh, how do I even like do it? And I confused a lot of people, and the person I was working to make my music just was a chaos, because I didn't know what instruments even go there. I just know the basics still. I'm still a beginner, but I think that what I gained over those months now, when I took you on a journey with me to do music, I think that's so huge. Like, I'm like, wow, how do I express it? Like, I'm actually so grateful I started it, because it has changed me. It has really made me see the power we all can have. We don't have to be like the most genius doing like those things. You can just do it and maybe find someone who is more better at it, more engineering side of it, and that's how you define it, because in the end you still need a team, right? So if you are a singer or songwriter and you have a deep story, or you have something you want to tell in your way, then don't be stuck in the societal norm of that you have to somehow fit into certain category of music. I feel like if you give yourself freedom to grow into your music, which will take time and which will be the hardest thing to do, but the reward of like finding it and finding your voice and be like, wow, that actually is me, is like the coolest thing. Like I couldn't find anyone doing what I do, so like maybe someone is, but I just don't know. Most likely we're really similar to each other as humans, and that's normal. But that's what I'm saying, like the essence and everything as you as an individual will be always special. I really want to encourage you to step into a journey or something that feels right to you. Maybe combine styles. It's good to learn styles, but I feel like sometimes you need to go out of it to experiment it. Let's cover the benefits when I started producing myself. You are in control. You literally have space to understand the whole system. You understand that, okay, I have this deep feeling inside of me. I want to tell on this emotion, so I know that, okay, perhaps piano is more tender when it comes to certain emotion, and guitar is more soft tone, so when I want to tell something in a softer kind of melancholic or happier way, maybe I can use more guitar or strings. Or that's the thing, you just understand the system more, so you find it easier for you to tell the story you want to tell. In long term, you will have amazing skill, which may seem to you like as random, but I think if you do something like this, you're also able to help others. You also collaborate with people more because you understand more. There's more value in you, like you can bring something great on a table. I think the greatest idea that I really still want to believe is like finding people who want to make deep music like I do, and hopefully I can help them in the future when I get better at it. I definitely hope to find some cool course or somewhere I can go, but right now I'm not sure of it. I have looked some, but I'm not really sold on how do I start making music and what software or what DAW should use to make music. I think you know what to do, you just have to do it, right? When you begin, you start with YouTube, like learning the basics. I think it's the most important thing. I think the one thing what was my mistake also was to start producing and thinking like, I know notes, I know how they kind of sound, and I'm seeing a lot of melodies in my head, so I don't have to bother myself much about some things in it. But the thing is, like, it's system, it's like something that someone did, so you have to use that someone did to make sense of you, who has, I don't know, some engineer powers, but I don't have it. So like systematical things are really confusing to me. So to make it easier for yourself is like learning the basics, like, okay, let me just start with the basic thing. How can I even make a melodies? What are the basic instruments that go into song? What are the chords that make you feel melancholic or sad or happy? Like all of these basics, which I'm still learning, I must tell. I think you always learn the basics. It's like with everything what you do, you come back to the basics always, because that's like the base. Imagine it being like a foundation of your house. I think you heard this quote or this idea so many times, and then you can build like the whole house into it much easier, because you always lay the base down, which is like really important in order to start something. I think I had a really bad relationship with compressor, because I was like, oh my god, I just can't hear it, I can't really make a difference. But when I see the graphic, I really understand it, and it took some time and maybe some marinating or few days or weeks to sink in and be like, okay, that's what it's doing. And then later when I'm doing, I get it more, and sometimes I'm like, there's a lot of things in it. It's not to confuse you, just take the easiest some YouTube courses, learn the basics. One thing also, where I learned something is Skillshare. It's not sponsored, okay, but I found like a free month or something. They also give you free months in different platforms where you can learn stuff. So use them and then cancel and learn as quickly. Take it like really serious, because then you can really finish it. Or you can take a friend or someone accountable. You can share the responsibilities and be like, hey, let's learn it together. I wanna find my style. I wanna find what's me. I wanna tell my stories through music. And if that's your goal, then I encourage you to do that. Take a challenge, find someone to share it. If not, do it yourself, and remember, you matter, you can do it. You just have to keep on going. If you miss days, you're fine. You can still come back to it and learn again. What DAW or software, as I like to say, should I use? If you don't want to like make a big purchase in the beginning, then there are free sources. If you have iPhone, then you can use GarageBand. I used to make it with my phone, like my small little iPhone that was already glitching because it was full of videos, but regardless of that, I still try my best to learn or do music. These are really easy forms of doing it. There's a lot of free things you can see. I googled on internet. There's a lot of options you can look at. You can pick them and be like, okay, let me try that. I would say it's fine to start there. I would say it's totally fine. But if you want to start to actually produce, then take something that's actually professional, which leads me to these good professional ones like Ableton, Ableton Live, FL Studio, which I'm using. Then there's these other things that are really powerful. You can really Google which style and way you can use it. One thing I do want to say is like when someone says this is for this better than this, then think a little bit critically. Why would you use it? Why would you do it? Like, that's why I chose FL Studio. I find it user friendly for myself. I find it that I understand it more, I grasp it better, and that's just me. People may say Ableton is a lot better when you do such songs like I do, but it's like, does it really matter? If you become a good engineer or if you become a good producer and you learn producing, then I think just learn one. Don't go too crazy with everything, because when you learn the one, you start to understand the other systems too, because they're in a way similar, just different design, different ways to click or link things or add effects. You just have to look at the basics. As I said, the basics are the key to your life, okay? The basics. Don't worry about not having interfaces, microphones, all of that gear, because in these systems you can build instruments. Yes, it's not perfect, and also you can be creative about it. If you don't have yet the microphone or anything and you can't afford it and you're collecting money still, then you can record it with your phone. Yes, it's not the best, but look, you will learn the effects and everything, and you will clean as much as you can your recordings. Choosing yourself where you want to make music is personal, so you can test out. Maybe there are some demo versions, I'm not sure, maybe there are. Like sometimes they offer something like, oh, try this for free for a certain amount of time, or try this for demo or something to make something. And sometimes there are something you can do with that, and you can learn if you like the system itself. But believe me, in the beginning it's not easy. For me it wasn't. I wasn't good with systems, and it just made my head turn around. Like I was like, oh my god, no. So it's really personal. It took me a year or two. I'm so sorry, it's not fast process. It took me a time to feel like, yes, I can say I'm somewhat good in it. I'm learning, still, because I took it finally seriously. Like, I started to do the basic, I started to actually learn what you can do in this, what are the actual effects usually people use in songs, and that's something I didn't know before. So now we get to this part. Like, after you have considered, you are struggling with still the music. It's so overwhelming to do anything you love. it's so hard to keep on going and finding new ideas then. What keeps me going over those years is definitely my purpose, and that's why I started with it, and that's why I told you my story, because that's your why. My pain, also knowing that there are people who are maybe even having worse than I, the traumas and everything, and they actually need me to tell this story. It's literally my highlight when I think about like some artist in my life. It's good to have someone you look up to, or someone you look just to feel like, oh, I have a chance to get out of there, because that really pushed me forward. I didn't have the support close by and I felt alone, so what helped me to feel like I'm part of something was definitely following someone that was a little bit like me and who started to believe in themselves, even if they also had some crazy things going on in their life and they had really low self-esteem like I did. But I also wanna help people to tell something that's within their heart and their mind, and what are the realistic thoughts that are going on with their mind. I think if we speak about our emotions and share it with the world, we can find out that there are a lot of people like that, so we can actually help them or be there with them. Not directly be with them, but be with them with music, or be with them with art. And I think that's why art is such an amazing thing, because you don't have to be there, but you are there because of whatever you made from your heart. The questions to ask yourself that can help you are, what is my deep why? If you don't know it, then maybe it's time for you to connect with yourself. Because I can keep on going if I know the purpose of it, and I know that even if I will get hate, even if I'm quirky, even if I'm weird, even if I'm so odd, then I can't even stand myself sometimes in videos, I know that at least I'm doing it for that little Victoria, or someone who is like me, like little Victoria, or someone who is like me, who has through a lot and just feels unheard and alone, and they're fighting to survive this world, which is really hard. Being on survival is horrible. You're really living on your traumas, and they just keep on repeating. And that's why I do what I do, because I know this state is where you can get out of and you can live in peace and do something meaningful that makes you feel like more fuller person, hopefully. When you want to change and you want to find the deepest why for yourself, is to connect with yourself. Like actually being like, okay, why am I like this? What are things I can do? Like, are there anything I can support myself so I can be better? Should I find help? Sometimes we need to actually ask help, and that's the reality. Other questions could be, what are my values? What is important to me? If I look back in time and look at my actions, what was the value I was acting on? Because that's where I found this has always been me. The pain and the covering and the hiding, there is something hidden that you are really passionate about. And for me, it was my family, it was my love to my family. I guess it's how I'm being raised. I really cared about them, and it was the essence of me living and helping and being better. So everything is for my family. I don't want to get too sad here, but I just want to help you to understand the thinking process, like what it is. If I look at my behavior, what are the things I do? Like, what are the things I value in this action? Because it's not that, I wanna, when you do something bad, the first thought is just, it was because it is your ego, okay? Of course, it's your ego. But the actual question, how I can move on, is like, why did I act this way? What was my value in this moment? Because you actually something matters to you so deep that you went so mad, that you went so like you wanted to punch someone, or you wanted to, I don't know, hide yourself and never be found, or whatever it is, you value something so strong and you got hurt by it, and that's why it's masking and you're blaming yourself now, or you're saying that you're the worst, but that's actually not the solution, right? If I ask myself what is the lesson behind this, then you will find it. Then you will know, because you know it actually. What do you live by? What do you actually truly value in your life? Hopefully that helps, because that helped me to cover like, oh, I always been that way. If I know my force, I can motivate myself better, then I can actually push myself forward, and I know my passion. If you know how you function, you can use it to your advantage. You can use it to do the things you want to do, but you find that they're hard to do for yourself or for around your friends, or you name it. It is a lot of work to do, and producing is definitely not easy, but whatever works for you, what aligns with you, what just makes sense to do it. If producing is something you considered but you were scared, or if producing is something that you find sometimes hard, keep on going. I believe in you. You can do it. I know that at some point you're gonna be so good at it that everyone is like, how did you do it? Don't listen everyone, and don't even listen me if you don't feel like the thing is aligned with you, because the most important thing, it's your life and you're gonna live in it and you're gonna experience the life you are at. So I hope that helped you to think of some things, or helps you to push you forward to do the things you really need to do in your music or art career. If you like this video, check out my video, what I posted last time. I was trying to make a pop song. It wasn't best, but it was fun to make. Until next Monday. Bye!